and Rosen come, they're so packed, they don't give a damn if we ever get back, for it's saying goodbye to them all. And over the gangway we crawl, there'll be no promotion this side of the ocean, so cheer up my lads, bless them all. Okay, this is the one I wrote. Oh, they say there's a ship that's left San Diego, and that it is loaded with beer. And if that ship has left San Diego, then why in the hell ain't it here? Okay, that's all. The other song I'm going to sing is an old Navy song. It's called Turalai, and it was sung when we had sailing ships, which reminds me, you know, I have to tell you this story. I got a letter about 2 weeks ago from the VA. I told you they lost my health record. It was a salty health record, I tell you. No VD. No, I'm a VD. A case of crabs one time. And I had after I had a plane crash, they just wrote down plane crash. They didn't say I was injured. Hurt my back. But the VA lost it. Anyway, I got this letter from the VA that said they're going to have, the VA's got more money now. So come on down to a place called Bridgeport, Texas. Hey, shut the door. I can't stand all that background stuff. So they said, come to Bridgeport, Texas, and log in with the VA because there's going to be a new office there. So I thought that'd be a good idea because you just don't know what's going to happen to Medicare. You just don't.
Amen.
You know, Obama says they're going to take $400 billion out of Medicare. And you know, when I first joined the Navy back in 1939, I asked my dad for 14 cents because it cost 7 cents to ride the streetcar down to the federal building. And I tricked him. I asked for a transfer. So after I went down to the federal building with 7 cents, I used that transfer to go back home. And I kept the other 7 cents. But the chief said, you want to join the Navy? Well, the first thing we do, we take your fingerprints and send to LAPD. And if there's anything in your fingerprints, you're not going to get in. So I said, well, Chief, I'm clean. So he took my fingerprints, and I got a call about 10 days later that come on down for a physical. And so, what's the reason I told you this? There was a reason.
Has something to do with the song?
It had something to do with the VA. Oh yeah. So I passed the physical, and before I swore in, the chief said, now, from here on out, the government is going to take care of you and your dependents, your wife and your dependent kids, the rest of your life. And do you know, they have kept that. They passed this rule giving you supplementary Medicare, and they did that. It's called TRICARE for Life.
Yep.
And it's really good. You don't have to pay anything else on the Medicare, so they kept their promise. They really did. Now getting back to where was I?
The other song.
The song. Turalai. Okay. It starts out, it isn't the pitching or tossing of the foam on the crest of the wave. It's the foam in the neck of the bottle that's sending it down to our grave. Okay, this is, the head. Yeah. The reason I told you this story because I went down to the VA in Bridgeport, and they said the first thing you want to do is to take a blood test. Well, I know that my cholesterol is down and my triglycerides in the good, between the good and the bad lipids and all that. I know. I work at it. And so they took a blood test, and the girl came up and said, "Fill this up with urine." And I said, "Where's your head?" And she went like this. I said, "You work for the VA and you don't know what the head is?" And I said, "That's the restroom." I said, now listen, young lady, I'm going to tell you that in the Navy and Marines, we call the restroom a head. She said, "Why?" I said, "Okay, now back in the days of the old sailing ships, when you had a bodily function, you went to the head of the ship. And as the ship went through the waves,
Yeah.
it would wash out."
King
I
size
was
bidet.
captain of the head one time. I used to work like I wrote my mother and said, "Mother, I'm captain of the head." She said, "Be kind of the men under you." I said, "Mother, there's nobody under me." But anyway, I said, "Now, the Navy and Marines call it a head, and the Army calls it a latrine. The Air Force calls it a potty." Next time I come here, I want to drill you on this. Okay, so they gave me an appointment to come back to the VA two weeks later, and this young lady walked out of the lab, and I said, "Young lady, what do they call the head in the Air Force?" She said, "Latrine." You need more training. I'll give you more training. So that is one of the words. It's in this song. Okay. It isn't the pitching or tossing